What to do when you reach that point in your research, in your PhD work, in which absolutely nothing makes sense. I feel that every single PhD student comes across this time in which nothing makes sense whatsoever. You have a bunch of results scattered everywhere. Some of conclusions are written in your lab notebook, some of the results are somewhere in your Google Drive, some other results are, scattered across your private PC, your work PC, and so on. And then at some point you have to make sense of all of that. This task can be overwhelming to say the least, especially since it happens at the point where you are already towards the end, reaching the end of your PhD journey, which means that you're already tired, you're already a little bit fed up, and you already want it to just be done. So how can you make sure to structure all of those things into a coherent story, into something that makes sense in your thesis, in your paper, in a chapter that makes sense to you and your PI, so you can finally write it, finish it, submit it, and then eventually defend it. I feel, as I said, this is something that happens to the vast majority of PhDs, and the best technique to do so and to bring structure to your work is to first become aware of what is actually already there. Because more often than not, when we work on project during a few months, or even especially during the PhD during years, we sometimes forget what are the things that we already did years ago. So one of the first steps that you have to take is doing exactly that. Gather all of that data, all of that information from years ago and make it make sense in your current setting. Like, I'm talking about those plots, those data, those figures that you somehow made, some sketches back then, and now you have to polish them and really make sure that they are publication-worthy, thesis-worthy figures. When it comes to maybe code that is forgotten and that you don't even know what you were saying in some sections of the code because you didn't document it properly maybe at that point, and so on. So that is your very, very first step. Your very first step is to gather all of that data, all of that information, and make sense of what you already have. Once you've done that, then and only then can you try to find a thread that will connect what you did back then and what you already have now. And then when you do all of those things, that's when you will have sort of this broader sense of what is the data that you have, what are the results that you have, and sort of connect them in a more cohesive and coherent way that is then going to go into your thesis, into your paper, and so on. So if you are right now in that stage in which your research feels like a complete mess, when you don't know how to move forward, you have so many things to do and your to-do list feels endless, but yet you are stuck because you don't know what are the actual next steps that you need to take, I want to invite you to schedule a completely free intro coaching call with me. I will leave a link down below in the description where you can schedule the call, in which we will discuss exactly that. Your current situation, your current challenges and struggles, and we will establish what are those next steps that you need to take in order to make sure that your thesis makes sense both to you and your supervisor. And then you can finally write it, finish, submit, and eventually defend. So I hope that you found this video useful, and as always, see you in the next few days with another video about PhD journey, research, and how to survive all of that. See you and bye-bye.